Hello, car enthusiasts. Welcome to our channel. We've prepared a very interesting video for you about the top 11 best and worst cars in America in the 1960s. This video is sure to surprise you, so get comfortable and watch it until the end. Enjoy the show. Dear viewer, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support. The 1961 Chrysler Newport was a full-size car that aimed to offer an affordable entry point into the Chrysler lineup. However, it faced criticism for a number of reasons, making it less competitive in a rapidly changing automotive market. Here's an exploration of why the 1961 Chrysler Newport might be considered dumb. The 1961 Chrysler Newport featured a design that was rooted in the forward-look styling of the late 1950s, created under the direction of Chrysler's design chief, Virgil Exner. While this design language was innovative in the mid-1950s, by 1961 it was starting to feel outdated. The Newport's styling included large tail fins, a rounded body, and a somewhat cluttered appearance, which contrasted with the cleaner, more modern lines that were beginning to emerge in the automotive world during the early 1960s. The Newport was a large and bulky car, which made it appear even heavier than it actually was. The massive proportions and somewhat awkward design elements, like the exaggerated tail fins and wide front grille, made the car look ungainly compared to more streamlined and contemporary designs from other manufacturers. The 1961 Newport was equipped with a 361 cubic inch V8 engine, which delivered around 265 horsepower. While this was adequate for the time, the car's large size and heavy weight hindered its performance. The Newport was not particularly fast or agile, and its handling was more suited to straight-line cruising than to any sort of spirited driving. This lack of dynamic performance was a drawback in an era when performance was becoming an increasingly important factor for buyers. The Newport's large V8 engine, combined with its considerable weight, resulted in poor fuel economy. In a time when fuel prices were not yet a major concern for most buyers, this might not have been a deal-breaker, but it did contribute to the car's overall reputation as being inefficient and somewhat out of touch with emerging consumer trends that were beginning to value more economical vehicles. The 1961 Newport was positioned as an affordable, entry-level model within the Chrysler lineup, which meant that it was not as well equipped as the brand's more expensive offerings. While it did offer some amenities, such as power steering and power brakes, it lacked many of the more advanced features that were becoming available in other cars at the time. For example, the Newport did not have features like air conditioning or power windows as standard equipment, which were becoming increasingly expected in full-size cars, especially in the luxury segment. The Newport was also criticized for not incorporating more modern automotive technologies. Competitors were beginning to introduce more advanced suspension systems, better transmissions, and improved safety features, but the Newport lagged behind in these areas. The car's ride quality and handling were decent, but they did not stand out in a competitive market where innovation was becoming key to attracting buyers. The Newport was marketed as a budget-friendly option within the Chrysler lineup, which placed it in a difficult position. It was less luxurious and less powerful than other Chrysler models, such as the New Yorker, but it was still more expensive than many comparable models from other manufacturers, such as the Ford Galaxy or Chevrolet Impala. This left the Newport in a sort of no-man's land, where it was neither a true luxury car nor a true value proposition. In 1961, the automotive market was highly competitive, with many manufacturers offering a wide range of models that appealed to different segments of the market. The Newport had to compete against both mainstream full-size cars and more upscale models. Cars like the Chevrolet Impala and Ford Galaxy offered more modern styling, better fuel economy, and comparable performance at a lower price point, making them more attractive to many buyers. The 1961 Chrysler Newport was a full-size car that struggled to stand out in a competitive and rapidly evolving market. Its dated design, mediocre performance, poor fuel economy, and lack of modern features made it less appealing compared to its competitors. Positioned as a budget-friendly option within the Chrysler lineup, the Newport failed to capture the excitement and innovation that buyers were beginning to demand in the early 1960s. As a result, it remains a somewhat overlooked and underappreciated model in automotive history. Number 10. The 1968 Buick Riviera GS was Buick's attempt to create a performance-oriented luxury car that combined stylish design with powerful performance. However, despite its intentions, the Riviera GS fell short in several key areas, leading to criticism and a perception that it was more about style than substance. The 1968 Riviera GS was a large car with a curb weight of over 4,200 pounds. This substantial weight had a significant impact on the car's performance, particularly in terms of acceleration, handling, and overall agility. While the Riviera was designed to be a luxurious grand tourer, its size and weight made it difficult to deliver the kind of sporty performance that was increasingly expected from performance-oriented models. The heavy weight of the Riviera GS dulled its performance, especially when compared to lighter and more agile competitors. Despite having a powerful engine, the car's sheer mass limited its acceleration and handling capabilities, making it feel sluggish and less responsive on the road. This was a disappointment for buyers who expected a more dynamic driving experience. The Riviera GS was equipped with a big block V8 engine that produced a substantial amount of power, but its handling did not match its straight-line performance. The car was prone to understeer, and its large size made it difficult to maneuver in tight corners or at high speeds. The suspension setup, while comfortable for cruising, was not tuned for spirited driving, resulting in a disconnected and floaty feel. Despite its Grand Sport GS designation, which implied a level of performance, the Riviera GS was not a true sports car. It was more of a luxury cruiser with some added power, but it lacked the precision and agility that buyers might have expected from a performance model. In contrast, competitors like the Chevrolet Corvette or Ford Mustang offered much sharper handling and a more engaging driving experience. The Riviera GS was undeniably stylish, with a sleek, fastback design that was inspired by European grand tourers. The hidden headlights, sweeping lines, and aggressive front grille gave it a distinctive and upscale appearance. However, this emphasis on style came at the expense of substance, particularly in terms of performance and driving dynamics. The car looked fast, but it didn't always deliver on that promise. The interior of the Riviera GS was luxurious, with plush seats, high-quality materials, and a range of features aimed at comfort. However, the focus on comfort meant that the driving experience was somewhat muted. The car was designed more for long, comfortable highway cruises than for spirited driving on winding roads, which may have disappointed buyers looking for a more engaging performance vehicle. The big block V8 engine in the Riviera GS was thirsty, leading to poor fuel economy. In an era when gas prices were not a major concern, this might not have been a deal-breaker, but it did contribute to the car's overall inefficiency. The combination of a heavy body and a powerful engine meant that the Riviera GS consumed a lot of fuel, making it less practical for everyday use. The Riviera GS's large size also made it less practical for urban driving. Parking the car in tight spaces was a challenge, and its size could be unwieldy in congested city environments. This limited its appeal to buyers who needed a more versatile and maneuverable vehicle. The 1968 Riviera GS occupied a somewhat awkward position in the market, straddling the line between luxury and performance. While it offered the comfort and style expected of a luxury car, it did not fully deliver on the performance front. Buyers who wanted a true performance car were likely to look elsewhere, while those who prioritized luxury might have preferred a car with a smoother ride and better handling balance. The Riviera GS faced competition from both within and outside the Buick lineup. Cars like the Oldsmobile Toronado and Cadillac Eldorado offered similar luxury and style, but with front-wheel drive layouts that provided better traction and handling. Meanwhile, more dedicated performance cars like the Ford Mustang, Pontiac GTO, and Chevrolet Corvette offered a more focused and engaging driving experience, making them more attractive to performance-oriented buyers. The 1968 Buick Riviera GS was an attractive and stylish luxury car that fell short of delivering the performance that its Grand Sport designation promised. Its heavy weight, sluggish handling, and focus on style over substance led to a car that was more suited for comfortable cruising than for spirited driving. While it remains a visually striking and iconic model, the Riviera GS is often seen as a car that didn't fully live up to its potential, making it a somewhat dumb choice for buyers looking for a true performance-oriented luxury vehicle. The 1964 Pontiac Tempest was intended to be a sporty, mid-size car that could serve as an alternative to the larger, more traditional Pontiacs. However, it faced several issues that prevented it from becoming a standout model, especially during the burgeoning muscle car era. The 1964 Pontiac Tempest was offered with a range of engines, including a 215 cubic inch inline-six engine, a 326 cubic inch V8, and later, the more powerful 389 V8 in the GTO option. However, the base engine was underpowered, producing just 140 horsepower, which left the car feeling sluggish and unresponsive. In a time when the muscle car movement was gaining momentum, the base Tempest performance was lackluster compared to more powerful competitors. Although the Tempest shared its platform with the GTO, which became an iconic muscle car, the standard Tempest did not capture the same excitement. Pontiac missed an opportunity to make the Tempest more of a performance-oriented vehicle in its own right, instead reserving the real muscle for the GTO variant. This decision left the Tempest feeling like an underwhelming offering, especially for buyers who couldn't afford the GTO upgrade. The 1964 Tempest had a rather conservative and unremarkable design. While it was clean and functional, it lacked the bold and aggressive styling cues that were beginning to define the muscle car era. The car's design was more in line with practical, family-oriented vehicles, which made it less appealing to younger buyers who were looking for something with more visual impact. The Tempest did not stand out in a crowded market. Its design was similar to other mid-size cars of the time, and it didn't have any unique features that would make it memorable. As a result, it was often overshadowed by more visually striking models from other manufacturers. The 1964 Tempest was positioned as a mid-size car that could appeal to a broad range of buyers. However, by trying to be all things to all people, it failed to fully capitalize on the growing demand for high-performance muscle cars. While the GTO version of the Tempest went on to become a legend, the standard Tempest was too mild-mannered to excite the same passion among buyers. In 1964, the muscle car movement was just beginning to take off, with cars like the Ford Mustang and the GTO leading the charge. The Tempest, however, did not fully embrace this trend. Its performance was decent for a mid-size car, but it didn't push the boundaries in the way that true muscle cars were starting to do. As a result, it missed out on the growing enthusiasm for powerful, high-performance vehicles. The Tempest was positioned as a mid-size alternative to larger Pontiacs, but this left it in an awkward position in the market. It was not as luxurious as full-size cars, nor was it as sporty as emerging muscle cars. This in-between status made it less appealing to buyers who wanted either a true luxury car or a true performance car. The Tempest faced stiff competition from other mid-size cars, many of which offered better performance or more distinctive styling. Cars like the Ford Fairlane and Chevrolet Chevelle were direct competitors, and they were able to offer more excitement either through performance options or through more appealing designs. The Tempest struggled to differentiate itself in this competitive market. The 1964 Tempest will forever be overshadowed by the GTO, which was introduced as an option package for the Tempest that same year. The GTO's success and its role in defining the muscle car era meant that the standard Tempest was often overlooked. While the Tempest played a role in the history of Pontiac, it is the GTO that is remembered and celebrated. Today, the 1964 Tempest is not as highly sought after by collectors as the GTO or other muscle cars from the era. It lacks the performance pedigree and the iconic status that makes certain cars valuable and desirable. As a result, it is more of a curiosity or a footnote in the history of American cars than a true classic. Number 8. The 1968 Chevrolet Corvair Monza was designed to be a sportier, more upscale version of the base Corvair, aiming to offer a blend of style and performance. However, despite these intentions, the Corvair Monza struggled to overcome several inherent flaws that plagued the entire Corvair lineup. The Corvair Monza, like all Corvairs, featured a rear engine layout, which was unconventional for American cars at the time. While this design aimed to offer better weight distribution and handling, it also led to significant handling issues, especially for drivers who were not accustomed to the unique dynamics of a rear-engine car. The rear-engine placement made the Corvair prone to oversteer, particularly in sharp turns or during sudden maneuvers. This handling characteristic was difficult for many drivers to manage and contributed to the car's reputation for being unsafe. The Monza's sporty image was undermined by the fact that its handling could be unpredictable and even dangerous in the wrong hands. By 1968, the Corvair's reputation had already been severely damaged by Ralph Nader's 1965 book, Unsafe at Any Speed, which highlighted the safety issues associated with the car's rear-engine design. Although Chevrolet made improvements to the suspension in later models to address some of these concerns, the damage to the Corvair's image was already done. The Monza, despite its sporty pretensions, couldn't escape the shadow of this negative publicity. The Corvair Monza was meant to be a sportier version of the Corvair, but the safety concerns surrounding the entire model line made it difficult for the Monza to be taken seriously as a performance car. Buyers were wary of the Corvair, and the Monza's sporty styling couldn't fully mitigate the fears about its safety. The Corvair Monza came with a flat-six engine that offered decent power, but it was not enough to compete with the V8-powered muscle cars that were dominating the market in the late 1960s. The most powerful engine available in the Monza produced around 140 horsepower, which was respectable for a small car but not impressive when compared to the growing number of muscle cars with 300-plus horsepower. The Corvair Monza was positioned as a sporty, affordable alternative to European imports and domestic muscle cars, but it didn't excel in either category. It was neither as powerful as a muscle car nor as refined as a European sports car, leaving it in an awkward middle ground that limited its appeal. By 1968, the Corvair's design was beginning to show its age. While the car had been innovative when it was first introduced in 1960, the styling and technology had not evolved significantly to keep up with changing tastes and advancements in the automotive industry. The Monza's sporty features, such as bucket seats and upgraded trim, were not enough to hide the fact that the basic design was outdated. The rear engine, air-cooled design was a novelty in the early 1960s, but by 1968, it was seen as obsolete compared to the more conventional front-engine, water-cooled cars that offered better performance and reliability. The Monza's attempt to offer a sporty, modern driving experience was hampered by these outdated mechanicals. The Corvair Monza was marketed as a sporty compact car, but it was overshadowed by both foreign and domestic competitors. Cars like the Ford Mustang and Chevrolet Camaro offered more power, better handling, and a more traditional layout, making them more attractive to performance-minded buyers. The Monza struggled to find a niche in a market that was increasingly dominated by muscle cars and more conventional sporty compacts. The Corvair Monza was priced to compete with other sporty compacts, but its controversial design and safety concerns made it a hard sell. Buyers who were interested in a sporty car often opted for more conventional models that didn't carry the baggage of the Corvair's troubled reputation. The 1968 Chevrolet Corvair Monza was an attempt to offer a sportier version of the Corvair, but it was held back by the same issues that plagued the entire model line. The controversial rear-engine layout, safety concerns, underwhelming performance, and outdated design all contributed to the Monza's failure to capture the excitement of the late 1960s performance car market. Despite its sporty image, the Monza couldn't overcome the flaws and negative reputation of the Corvair, making it a less desirable choice for buyers looking for a true performance vehicle. Number 7. The 1960 Dodge Matador was intended to be a full-size car that offered style and presence on the road. However, it struggled to find success and left much to be desired in several key areas. The Dodge Matador was a large, heavy car, but the engines it came with were underpowered for its size. The base engine was a 230 cubic inch straight six that produced only around 145 horsepower. While larger V8 options were available, even these struggled to provide adequate performance given the car's weight. The Matador's sluggish acceleration and poor fuel economy were major drawbacks, especially as the American car market began to place more emphasis on power and performance. The sheer size and weight of the Matador made it cumbersome to drive. Its handling was poor, with significant body roll and unresponsive steering, which made the car feel disconnected from the road. This was a time when buyers were starting to demand better handling and more responsive driving experiences, and the Matador failed to deliver on these fronts. The 1960 Matador featured enormous tail fins, a design element that had been popular in the late 1950s but was quickly going out of fashion by 1960. While some cars managed to integrate tail fins into their design in a way that still looked stylish, the Matador's fins were often seen as excessive and out of place. They made the car look dated even when it was new, which hurt its appeal to buyers who were looking for something more modern. The overall design of the Matador was a mix of various styling cues that didn't come together in a cohesive way. The car's front end, with its exaggerated grille and large headlights, clashed with the rear end, dominated by the oversized tail fins. The result was a car that looked awkward and unbalanced, lacking the elegance or aggression that other full-size cars of the time offered. The Dodge Matador didn't have any standout features that would make it particularly appealing to buyers. It was positioned as a full-size car, but lacked the luxury features or performance options that could set it apart from the competition. Many buyers saw it as just another large car in an already crowded market with nothing special to offer. The Matador nameplate didn't have strong brand recognition, and it didn't resonate with buyers in the way that more established names like the Dodge Dart or Coronet did. As a result, the Matador struggled to carve out a niche for itself, and many potential buyers simply overlooked it in favor of more familiar models. By 1960, American car buyers were beginning to shift away from the excessive styling and sheer size that had defined the late 1950s. Cars like the Matador, with its oversized fins and bulky body, were starting to look outdated as consumers began to favor more streamlined and practical designs. The Matador's failure to adapt to these changing tastes made it less attractive to a growing segment of the market. The full-size car market in 1960 was highly competitive, with numerous models from other manufacturers offering better performance, more modern styling, or greater luxury. The Matador's lackluster design and mediocre performance meant that it was quickly overshadowed by competitors like the Chevrolet Impala, Ford Galaxy, and even other Dodge models. The Dodge Matador was only produced for a single model year, which is a testament to its lack of success. Its poor sales and the limited impact it had on the market led to its quick discontinuation. The Matador didn't leave a lasting legacy and is often forgotten in the history of Dodge's full-size cars. Today, the 1960 Dodge Matador is not highly sought after by collectors. Its awkward styling, underwhelming performance, and lack of historical significance make it a curiosity rather than a classic. While it may appeal to some enthusiasts who appreciate its unique quirks, it is not considered a desirable or iconic vehicle from the era. The 1960 Dodge Matador was a full-size car that missed the mark in several key areas. Its large and heavy body was ill-matched with underpowered engines, resulting in poor performance and handling. The car's awkward styling, dominated by massive tail fins that were already going out of fashion, failed to resonate with buyers who were increasingly looking for more modern and practical designs. The Matador's lack of distinctive features and its failure to adapt to changing market trends led to its quick discontinuation and limited legacy. As a result, the Matador is often seen as a misstep in Dodge's history, making it a less appealing choice for both buyers in its time and collectors today. Number 6. The 1966 Plymouth VIP was introduced as Plymouth's attempt to break into the luxury car market by offering an upscale version of the popular Fury. However, the VIP struggled to establish itself as a true luxury vehicle and failed to capture the attention of buyers in a meaningful way. The 1966 Plymouth VIP shared much of its design with the more basic Fury models. While it had a few unique trim pieces and slightly more upscale touches, the overall look was far from distinctive. The VIP's design lacked the flair and elegance typically associated with luxury cars, making it difficult to distinguish from the more pedestrian Fury models. This lack of visual differentiation meant that the VIP didn't stand out in the crowded luxury car market. The VIP's styling was conservative, bordering on bland. In an era where luxury cars from brands like Cadillac and Lincoln were known for bold, statement-making designs, the VIP's restrained look failed to generate excitement. Buyers looking for a luxury vehicle often sought something that made a statement, and the VIP's conservative appearance didn't fulfill that desire. Although the VIP was positioned as a luxury model, its interior did not offer the level of opulence expected from a luxury car. The materials used were only slightly better than those found in the standard Fury, and the VIP lacked the advanced features and technology that were becoming standard in true luxury vehicles. The seats were more comfortable, and there was some additional trim, but overall, the interior felt more like an upgraded mid-range car than a true luxury experience. The VIP did not introduce any significant technological or comfort innovations. Competitors were offering features like power windows, advanced climate control systems, and more sophisticated sound systems, but the VIP was largely content with sticking to the basics. This lack of innovation made it hard for the VIP to justify its positioning as a luxury car. The Plymouth VIP was an attempt to create a luxury offering within a brand that was traditionally associated with more affordable, family-oriented cars. This branding mismatch made it difficult for buyers to see the VIP as a legitimate luxury vehicle. Buyers who could afford a luxury car were more likely to turn to established luxury brands like Chrysler within the same parent company, or look to competitors like Cadillac, Lincoln, or Buick. The VIP struggled with its identity. It wasn't luxurious enough to compete with true luxury cars, yet it was priced higher than the more practical and popular Fury models. This left the VIP in a kind of no man's land, where it wasn't clear who the car was meant for. As a result, the VIP failed to carve out a niche for itself in the market. The 1960s were a golden era for American luxury cars, with brands like Cadillac, Lincoln, and even Chrysler offering vehicles that were seen as the epitome of luxury and prestige. The VIP simply couldn't compete with these established names in terms of features, design, or brand cachet. Buyers who wanted a luxury car had better, more desirable options, and those who wanted a Plymouth likely opted for a Fury instead, which offered more value for money. The VIP's sales reflected its lukewarm reception in the market. It didn't resonate with buyers as a luxury car, and it wasn't successful enough to establish itself as a lasting model in the Plymouth lineup. Its sales performance made it clear that the market didn't see the VIP as a compelling alternative to more established luxury cars. The Plymouth VIP is largely forgotten today, overshadowed by more successful models both within and outside the Plymouth brand. It didn't leave a lasting impact on the automotive industry, and it's not particularly sought after by collectors. The VIP's legacy is one of missed opportunities and a failure to properly execute a luxury vehicle. The VIP was a relatively short-lived experiment, as Plymouth quickly realized that it couldn't compete effectively in the luxury segment with this model. The attempt to elevate the Fury into a luxury car wasn't successful, and the VIP was eventually discontinued as Plymouth refocused on what it did best: offering solid, value-oriented vehicles for the mainstream market. The 1966 Plymouth VIP was an attempt by Plymouth to create a luxury version of the Fury, but it failed to deliver on the promises of luxury and sophistication. Its uninspired design, lack of true luxury features, and confusing market positioning made it a half-hearted effort that didn't resonate with buyers. Faced with strong competition from established luxury brands, the VIP couldn't carve out a meaningful place in the market. Today, it is remembered as a forgettable model that highlights the challenges of trying to move a brand upmarket without fully committing to the requirements of the luxury car segment. The 1969 Mercury Cougar XR7 was intended to be a more luxurious, upmarket version of the Mercury Cougar, which was itself positioned as a more refined alternative to the Ford Mustang. However, despite its ambitions, the XR7 struggled to find its footing in the market. The Kuga XR7 was outfitted with additional luxury features and soundproofing materials that added to its overall weight. While these enhancements were meant to improve the car's comfort and refinement, they also had the unintended consequence of making the XR7 heavier than the standard Kuga. This added weight negatively impacted the car's performance, particularly in terms of acceleration and handling. The XR7 was slower off the line and less nimble in corners compared to its less luxurious counterparts, making it less enjoyable for driving enthusiasts. The XR7 included a number of luxury features, such as a more elaborate interior, wood grain trim, and additional electrical components. However, these features added complexity to the car, which could lead to more frequent maintenance issues. The increased complexity also made the XR7 less appealing to those who valued simplicity and reliability in a performance-oriented vehicle. The Kuga was originally marketed as a more refined, yet still sporty alternative to the Ford Mustang. However, the XR7's added weight and luxury features diluted its driving dynamics. The car's handling was less sharp, and the steering felt more disconnected compared to the standard Kuga or the Mustang. For buyers who were looking for a performance-oriented car with a touch of luxury, the XR7's compromised driving experience was disappointing. Although the XR7 was available with powerful engine options, including a 390 cubic inch V8, the car's added weight meant that it couldn't fully capitalize on its engine's potential. As a result, the XR7's performance was underwhelming, especially when compared to lighter, more agile competitors like the Mustang or Chevrolet Camaro. The extra luxury features did little to compensate for the car's lackluster driving dynamics. The Mercury Kuga, and by extension, the XR7, was often seen as the Mustang's more mature, refined sibling. However, the Mustang's raw appeal, lighter weight, and more aggressive styling made it a favorite among performance car enthusiasts. The XR7, despite its luxury touches, didn't offer enough to justify its higher price tag when compared to the Mustang, which provided a more thrilling driving experience at a lower cost. The Kuga XR7 was caught between being a luxury car and a muscle car, and it didn't excel in either category. Buyers who wanted a true luxury vehicle were more likely to opt for a Lincoln or Cadillac, while those seeking performance leaned toward the Mustang or other muscle cars. The XR7's inability to fully commit to one identity left it in an awkward position, appealing to neither market segment as strongly as its competitors. The XR7 was more expensive than the standard Kuga due to its additional luxury features. However, many buyers felt that the added cost wasn't justified by what the car actually offered. The interior upgrades and additional features, while nice, didn't transform the XR7 into a true luxury vehicle, and the performance sacrifices made it less appealing as a sports car. As a result, the XR7 struggled to convince buyers that it was worth the premium over the standard Kuga or the Mustang. While the XR7 included some luxury touches, such as leather seats and a more upscale dashboard, these features didn't match the levels of luxury found in true luxury cars of the time. The car's luxury aspirations were further undermined by its continued reliance on the same basic platform and mechanicals as the standard Kuga and the Mustang. This made the XR7 feel more like a dressed-up version of a muscle car, rather than a genuinely luxurious vehicle. The 1969 Mercury Kuga XR7 was designed to be a luxury version of the Kuga, offering a blend of refinement and performance. However, its added weight and complexity made it less fun to drive, and it struggled to justify its higher price tag. The XR7 was overshadowed by the Mustang, which offered a more engaging driving experience at a lower cost. Additionally, the XR7's luxury features didn't elevate it to the level of a true luxury car, leaving it stuck in a niche that didn't resonate strongly with buyers. As a result, the XR7 is often seen as a misstep in Mercury's attempt to create a luxury muscle car, failing to fully satisfy either the luxury or performance markets. Number 4. The 1969 Chrysler Imperial LeBaron was Chrysler's flagship luxury vehicle, designed to compete with the likes of Cadillac and Lincoln. Despite its luxurious intentions, the LeBaron struggled with several issues that made it less appealing to buyers. The 1969 Imperial LeBaron was an enormous car, stretching over 227 inches in length and weighing around 5,000 pounds. While its size was intended to convey luxury and presence, it also made the car cumbersome and difficult to maneuver, especially in urban environments. The car's sheer bulk was impractical for many buyers, making it challenging to park and navigate tight spaces. The car's massive size translated into poor handling characteristics. The LeBaron had a tendency to float over the road, with vague steering that made it difficult to feel connected to the driving experience. The suspension was tuned for a soft, cushioned ride, which, while comfortable on straight highways, led to excessive body roll in corners. This made the car feel unwieldy and unresponsive, especially compared to smaller, more agile luxury competitors. The 1969 Imperial LeBaron was priced at the upper end of the luxury car market, making it accessible only to a select group of buyers. The high cost of the LeBaron was justified by Chrysler with its extensive list of features and luxurious appointments, but in reality, the car didn't offer enough to differentiate itself from its competitors. The steep price was a significant barrier to entry, especially when Cadillac and Lincoln were offering similarly priced cars with more brand prestige and a stronger reputation for luxury. The high price tag of the Imperial LeBaron limited its market to a small group of affluent buyers. However, many of these buyers preferred to spend their money on more prestigious brands like Cadillac or Lincoln, which were seen as the gold standard of American luxury cars. The Imperial's lack of brand cachet compared to its rivals made it a less attractive option for those who could afford it. The 1969 LeBaron's design was conservative, even by the standards of the time. While it featured some elegant touches, such as hidden headlights and a distinctive grille, the overall look was boxy and traditional. In an era when automotive design was becoming more daring and innovative, the LeBaron's styling felt dated and uninspired. This made it less appealing to buyers looking for a luxury car that reflected the latest trends in automotive design. Despite its size, the LeBaron didn't have the same visual impact as some of its competitors. Cars like the Cadillac Eldorado or Lincoln Continental had more distinctive and recognizable designs that made them stand out on the road. The LeBaron, by contrast, was more understated and less likely to turn heads, which was a drawback for buyers who wanted a car that made a statement. Although the 1969 Imperial LeBaron was equipped with a powerful 440 cubic inch V8 engine, the car's enormous weight meant that its performance was underwhelming. Acceleration was sluggish, and the car struggled to deliver the kind of spirited performance that some luxury buyers might have expected. The engine had to work hard to move the LeBaron's bulk, leading to a driving experience that was more about cruising than excitement. The large engine, combined with the car's significant weight, resulted in poor fuel economy. In an era before fuel efficiency became a major concern, the LeBaron's gas-guzzling nature wasn't a deal-breaker for many buyers, but it was still a drawback, especially for those who intended to use the car for long-distance driving. The frequent need to refuel added to the cost of ownership, further limiting the car's appeal. By 1969, the Imperial brand was struggling to maintain its identity in a market dominated by Cadillac and Lincoln. Chrysler had positioned Imperial as a separate brand to compete with these luxury giants, but it lacked the same level of recognition and prestige. This made it difficult for the LeBaron to attract buyers who were loyal to more established luxury brands. The Imperial LeBaron was caught between being a Chrysler product and an independent luxury brand. This confused positioning didn't help its sales, as potential buyers were unsure of where the LeBaron fit in the luxury car hierarchy. Was it a competitor to Cadillac, or was it just a more expensive Chrysler? This uncertainty likely contributed to the car's limited appeal. Number 3. The 1969 Dodge Dart Swinger was a variant of the Dodge Dart, marketed as a sporty, affordable compact car aimed at younger buyers. However, despite its stylish name and appearance, the Dart Swinger had several shortcomings that made it less impressive than it appeared. The Dart Swinger was available with a range of engines, but the standard engine was a 225 cubic inch slant 6, which produced a modest 145 horsepower. While this engine was reliable and economical, it didn't offer the kind of power or performance that buyers might expect from a car with a sporty name like Swinger. Even the available V8 options, such as the 318 cubic inch engine, were not particularly powerful by the standards of the time, especially when compared to other muscle cars. The Dart Swinger was positioned as a sporty alternative within the Dart lineup, but its performance didn't live up to this image. The car's suspension and handling were more tuned for comfort than for spirited driving, and its straight-line speed was unimpressive. For buyers looking for an exciting driving experience, the Dart Swinger was likely a letdown. The name Swinger suggested a fun, dynamic, and youthful car, but the reality didn't match the marketing. The Dart Swinger was more of a regular compact car with some sporty styling cues rather than a true performance vehicle. This disconnect between name and reality could lead to disappointment for buyers who were drawn in by the car's branding but found the actual driving experience lacking. The Dart Swinger was primarily about style rather than substance. It featured sporty design elements like a unique grille, racing stripes, and Swinger badging, but these cosmetic touches didn't translate into a more thrilling driving experience. The car's appeal was largely skin-deep, and it didn't offer much in the way of actual performance improvements over the standard Dart models. In the late 1960s, the muscle car market was booming, and buyers had a wealth of options when it came to affordable performance cars. The Dart Swinger, with its modest performance, was overshadowed by more powerful and exciting competitors like the Ford Mustang, Chevrolet Camaro, and even Dodge's own Charger and Challenger models. These cars offered more horsepower, better handling, and a more authentic muscle car experience, making the Dart Swinger seem tame by comparison. The Dart Swinger was caught between being a budget-friendly compact car and a sporty alternative. It didn't have the raw performance to compete with true muscle cars, and it wasn't as refined or well-equipped as some of the more luxurious compact cars. This left it in a somewhat awkward position in the market, appealing neither to performance enthusiasts nor to buyers looking for a more comfortable, well-rounded vehicle. The Dart Swinger had the potential to be a successful, sporty, compact car, especially if Dodge had equipped it with more powerful engine options and tuned it for better handling. However, the Swinger remained a relatively mild offering, lacking the excitement that its name and marketing promised. This was a missed opportunity for Dodge to create a true competitor in the compact performance car segment. Dodge seemed to rely heavily on the Swinger's image and styling to sell the car, rather than investing in the engineering and performance improvements that could have made it a genuinely exciting vehicle. This focus on style over substance ultimately limited the car's appeal and kept it from achieving the status of a true classic in the muscle car era. The Dart Swinger's interior was functional but basic, lacking the refinement and features that some buyers might have expected from a sporty car. While it was relatively affordable, the cost-cutting was evident in the materials and design of the cabin. This made the car feel more like an economy model with a sporty paint job, rather than a well-rounded performance car. The Swinger didn't come with many standard features, and options were limited. This lack of equipment further highlighted the car's budget-oriented nature, which contrasted with the sporty image that Dodge was trying to project. For buyers who wanted more comfort or convenience features, the Swinger might have felt like a compromise. Number 2, the 1962 Chevrolet Chevy II was introduced as a straightforward, economical compact car aimed at competing with the Ford Falcon. It was designed to be practical, affordable, and easy to produce, but it lacked the excitement and innovation that buyers might have been looking for. The Chevy II's design was simple and conservative, with minimal ornamentation and a plain, boxy appearance. While this made it easy and cheap to produce, it also meant the car didn't stand out on the road. In an era when many car buyers were drawn to vehicles with distinctive styling and personality, the Chevy II's bland design did little to capture attention or excitement. The design of the Chevy II was intentionally straightforward, with an emphasis on simplicity and functionality. However, this focus on practicality came at the expense of innovation. The car didn't feature any groundbreaking styling elements or advanced engineering, which made it feel dated even when it was new. This lack of innovation made the Chevy II less appealing to buyers who wanted something more modern and stylish. The base engine in the 1962 Chevy II was a 153 cubic inch inline-4 that produced just 90 horsepower. While this engine was adequate for basic transportation, it didn't provide the kind of power or performance that would make the car fun to drive. Even the optional 194 cubic inch inline-6, which produced 120 horsepower, was still modest in terms of performance, especially compared to some of the more powerful options available in other cars of the era. When the Chevy II was first introduced, it didn't offer a V8 engine option. This was a significant omission, as many buyers in the early 1960s were looking for cars with more powerful engines. The lack of a V8 option meant that the Chevy II couldn't compete with sportier, more powerful cars, limiting its appeal to those who wanted more than just basic transportation. The Chevy II was designed with practicality in mind, which meant that it focused on being affordable and easy to maintain, rather than being exciting or luxurious. This utilitarian approach made the car functional and reliable, but it also made it somewhat dull. The Chevy II was seen as a car for people who needed basic transportation, not for those who wanted something with character or flair. The interior of the Chevy II was similarly basic, with few features or amenities. The seats were simple, the dashboard was utilitarian, and there was little in the way of creature comforts. While this kept the price down, it also made the car feel cheap and uninviting, especially compared to more well-appointed competitors. The Chevy II was introduced to compete directly with the Ford Falcon, which had already established itself as a popular and well-rounded compact car. The Falcon offered similar practicality, but with a more refined design and a better reputation for quality. This made it difficult for the Chevy 2 to distinguish itself in the market, as it didn't offer anything that the Falcon didn't already provide. The Chevy 2 was a car that did its job competently, but it didn't inspire much enthusiasm among buyers. It was seen as a safe choice, a car that would get you from point A to point B without any fuss, but without any excitement either. This made it less memorable and less desirable than some of the more innovative or stylish cars of the time. The Chevy 2 had the potential to be more than just a basic utilitarian car. With some tweaks to its design and more powerful engine options, it could have been a more exciting and competitive vehicle. However, Chevrolet's decision to keep the car simple and cost-effective meant that it never really reached its full potential. It wasn't until later years, when the Chevy 2 was offered with V8 engine options and more performance-oriented variants like the Nova, that the car began to develop a more enthusiastic following. This showed that there was interest in a more powerful, stylish version of the Chevy 2. But the 1962 model didn't capitalize on this potential. Number 1. The 1965 Dodge Monaco was Dodge's foray into the luxury car market, aiming to compete with other full-size luxury vehicles of the era. However, it faced several criticisms that made it a less appealing choice. The 1965 Monaco was a massive car with a length exceeding 220 inches and a weight that made it one of the heaviest cars in its class. While its size was intended to convey luxury and presence, it also made the car unwieldy and cumbersome. The large dimensions resulted in poor maneuverability and made the Monaco difficult to handle in tight spaces, which detracted from its appeal as a luxury vehicle. The Monaco's large size was impractical for city driving. Its bulkiness made parking and navigating through urban areas challenging. For a luxury car, which was often used for both city and highway driving, this lack of agility was a significant drawback. The Monaco's size and weight contributed to its sluggish handling. The car was designed with a focus on a smooth, cushioned ride rather than sporty handling, but the result was a vehicle that felt heavy and disconnected from the road. This lack of responsiveness made the driving experience less enjoyable, especially for those who valued a more engaging or refined driving dynamic. The suspension system of the Monaco was tuned for comfort, leading to excessive body roll and a floaty ride. While this was meant to enhance comfort, it resulted in a lack of precision and control, which was not ideal for a luxury car that was expected to offer a more composed and controlled driving experience. Despite its positioning as a luxury vehicle, the Monaco fell short in terms of luxury features and refinement. While it included some premium touches, such as a plush interior and high-quality materials, it did not offer the level of sophistication or advanced features found in competitors like Cadillac or Lincoln. The Monaco's attempt to deliver luxury fell short compared to the more established luxury brands of the time. The interior of the Monaco, while spacious, lacked the refinement and attention to detail expected in a high-end luxury car. The materials used and the overall design did not match the standards set by other luxury vehicles, making the Monaco feel less upscale than its competitors. The Monaco was heavily marketed based on its stylish design, with distinctive features such as a prominent front grille and sharp lines. However, this emphasis on style did not translate into a superior driving experience or better overall performance. The car's design elements were more about making a visual impact rather than improving the driving experience or luxury feel. The Monaco's exterior styling created an image of luxury, but the actual driving experience and refinement did not live up to this image. The car was more about looking the part of a luxury vehicle rather than delivering a truly luxurious experience. This disparity between appearance and substance contributed to its negative reception. In 1965, the luxury car market was dominated by brands like Cadillac, Lincoln, and Chrysler's own Imperial line. These competitors offered better handling, more advanced features, and a stronger brand reputation for luxury. The Monaco struggled to compete with these established players, as it did not offer the same level of performance or luxury. The Monaco's shortcomings in handling, refinement, and luxury features made it less appealing compared to its rivals. Buyers looking for a full-size luxury car had better options available, which led to the Monaco being overshadowed in the market.